when Biden went against Trump in 2020, his biggest pitch was like, Trump was a crazy person. He's going to lead us into World War III. We can't trust him. And then Joe Biden just turns around and gets us into two proxy wars. I used to love that stuff. I used to drink like 2 liters of the what good host.
Yeah, it's good host. That's
that's
exactly what it is. Actually, it's not good host. It's whatever the what do you call it? The bargain brand.
Like Swell Neighbor or something.
Yeah, swell Neighbor is good. Swell Neighbor brand iced tea.
They always have the same name, but a little bit different.
It's a little bit different. Good host, Swell Neighbor.
I used to make like 2 liters of that and then just play Genesis. And fun fact, I trained my bladder to hold so much pee because of that.
That's awesome. This super pee bladder 76.
Which is good because I kind of had to go pee before the start, and I was like, I'm gonna hold it. I'm the new Joe Rogan. I'm gonna hold my pee for 3 hours.
I'm gonna hold this pee. Hold this pee.
Hold my pee. Hold my pee. Okay, so are you comfortable with what's gonna happen right now? Because a lot of people aren't.
I know, man. It's this whole thing is a thing. So
okay.
I guess just start and we'll see how it goes. And
so
if I'm uncomfortable, I'll pump the brakes.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, it's not really a matter of comfort. It's going to be an uncomfortable 4 years for a lot of people.
I feel like it's okay. So my whole point of this podcast was to finally say all the reasons I'm happy Trump won the presidency.
Right. Yeah.
And you can't just I didn't want to just go fight windmills on the internet. Like every once in a while I would put in an opinion of why, because people are like, how could anybody like this guy? And it's like, well, the DNC did all this fucked up shit. So it's not like we love Trump and we want to suck his dick. It's more like,
I don't know, man.
If we have to suck a dick to stop World War III, we'll pretend to like it, I guess.
Oh, that's a bold stance.
So my first thought was, I was like, I'm going to just write down this whole blog post and then just read it out. And I was like, I can't make Jeff just listen to me read.
That's what we do 90% of the time.
Yeah, that's more of a Dale show thing. But I also didn't want to write it because. So anyways, I started writing it and I got a paragraph.
Like writing stuff anyway. Yeah.
So I was like, I got an intro. So I'm going to read the intro.
Okay.
And then we're going to go through the couple of the reasons why.
Okay.
Sure.
Lay it on me.
All right, here we go. Anyone my age range had their political views galvanized when the Republicans were the war machine sprinting to siphon tax dollars into weapons manufacturing. They were, objectively, the bad guys. Bush and Cheney made the thought of rooting for the Republicans unreasonable, unless you were somehow in a position to exploit capitalism ideals. I understand why people hate Trump. I hated Trump, and in a lot of ways I still do. But there's one thing I can't deny, and that is that he has always been good on war. During the primaries in 2016, he told Jeb Bush that his brother lied us into war in Iraq, and it was beautiful. It was a sentiment we had all carried after the debacle in the Middle East in the 2000s, but no politicians were really saying it out loud. That's my intro. So me being pro-Trump this election is just war. And the thought, and like when RFK gave his I'm dropping out of the race and I'm going for Trump, he basically said it's because that's the best option to save us from World War III.
Okay.
And when Biden went against Trump in 2020, his biggest pitch was Trump was a crazy person. He's going to lead us into World War III. We can't trust him. All the other world leaders don't trust him. And it's just crazy. And then Joe Biden just turns around and gets us into two proxy wars. Well, not us because we're in Canada, but pretty much us. The whole Ukraine war thing, a lot of that's Biden's fault.
And it had a huge effect on our country. It was in every bit of our media as much as it was the American media. All right. It's I don't know, for me, just in if you use me as a barometer for how I don't pay a lot of attention to the news. And I have noticed that like Ukraine war news is gone. It doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah, it
Like,
hasn't been around since
yeah.
Israel.
Is it still happening?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
still
still
on.
going on? Are things, yeah, and what I do see though is a lot of stickers on cars, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot. I still see a lot, especially in my neighborhood that has a lot of Eastern
Mhm,
European people in it. A lot of Ukraine bumper stickers, a lot of them.
yeah,
Like, it's just little. It's a little flag in the corner, right? The blue
mhm,
and the yellow with the little thing in the
yeah.
middle, and it's in the and it's on a lot of cars, and I still see that, but I've heard nothing. I don't know about the progress. You don't hear
Oh,
about,
dude,
the
it's
guy anymore. What's the president?
Zelensky.
Zelensky. You hear nothing about him. He was that, I find that, so I'm gonna get to Trump
Yeah,
eventually when I talk about this. I find with the media, as we follow it, throughout the way it's been going this last little while,
mhm,
you have a media darling, someone who's involved with something. Well, like we had Dr. Bonnie Henry, the savior, has a Fluvog shoe designed for her, is the greatest person ever. We have to listen to Bonnie Henry. It's all good. And then, it's like, nope, she sucks. She was lying to us the whole time, blah, blah, blah. A few years later, as it comes out. Right. And then you hear like Zelensky, he's the greatest guy in the whole world. He's handsome. He's charismatic. He's wonderful. Actually, he sucks, and he's keeping this war going, and blah, 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 blah. This is our media cycle of like how it works with people. Right.
yeah. I think what
Some
it is.
somebody rises to this huge prominence, and then everybody hates him. And I think in this election, Kamala Harris, for everything good that she stood for, didn't stand a chance against Trump to win it.
No.
And everybody on the internet, on my internet, I'm remarkably liberal in most of like my people that I follow. They're not really, so like in Canada we have liberals and conservatives. Most of the people are like, I can't believe that over half the population, the majority of Americans voted yes for Trump. It wasn't even close. Like, when we were watching the early polls of the race coming in, it wasn't even close. It was like, oh, he's gonna win this. He's gonna win
Mhm.
this. And like, this was like an hour into the voting. Trump's gonna win. And my wife's like, well, there's the swing states, and I'm like, they're all red already. Like, there's not going to be, Trump is gonna win this, and he's gonna win it like by a lot. And he
Yeah.
did. He did win it. Because what are you gonna do? Are you gonna vote for Harris? Really? Like, uh it's, man, that's a tough spot to be in. For anything good that she represented was negated by some of the other shit that the Democrats did in general.
Okay, I'm just gonna pull up
Are
the
you am I skipping you ahead again? I'm doing
Yeah,
that thing
yeah,
where I'm
you
like
are a bit, but
absolutely tearing
it's
into
fine.
it.
It's good to get that all out there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give the numbers, and then I'm gonna go back to talk about the media darling and Zelensky a bit.
Yeah.
So it ended up being Trump wanted he won 312 seats to Harris's 226,
Yeah.
and he had 74,800,000 votes, and Harris had 71,200,000, which is a lot. That's over half.
Yeah.
That's over half the no. That's
No,
not quite half the
it's not
population of the
quite.
states because
It
they're
was basically
370.
54 to 42
Yeah, and then in the
or something
Senate,
roughly. Yeah.
this is where it gets scary because I wanted Trump to win. I didn't want him to win a majority across the board
Right.
because as much as I think Trump will like possibly save us from World War III in the Ukraine, I don't know about Israel. That's all sketchy, but if now that I still don't like the Republicans because I hate conservatives across the board. That's actually one of the reasons why I hated Kamala Harris so much was because she was just adopting all these conservative ideals. And she got like praised Liz and Dick Cheney endorsed the like
Yeah.
Democrats. Like that's fucking bonkers.
It's totally bonkers.
But
Right.
anyways, he won 53 states in the Senate and she won 46. In the House, oh, the House isn't done counting. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I think the early numbers in the House it was still pretty pro Republican, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Trump has 214
Yeah.
and she has 203, and they
Yeah.
need 218 for the majority. So she needs 15 more, he needs 4. It's
Yeah.
looking like they're going to go his way, but I'm surprised that's still not done. It's been like almost a week.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyways, like I said, I wanted to back up to Zelensky where you're saying like he was a media darling.
Yeah,
I feel like it's stuff happens and then the media tries to push this narrative,
right.
and then when they're proven wrong, they kind of just slink
Yeah.
into the background. Like
Yeah, they just we'll move on to the next horrible
I'm gonna
disaster that's
defend
happening
Bonnie
throughout the
Henry,
world.
which is what was she, the health minister for
Yes.
BC? So
Yeah.
I don't think she lied. I think she was just given
No,
false information
she was given the
by Big
information that she was
Pharma,
given. Sure.
which is one of the reasons. Well, it's not really it's hard because everybody is like railing on Trudeau and Joe Biden and stuff for handling COVID wrong, but it was that they were given all this information that was proven false. The thing I do hate about Biden and stuff was how much they censored information because they're like, this is misinformation about the vaccines and stuff, and then they just like, even though it later came out that like Pfizer didn't test to see if the vaccine would stop the spread and stuff, they're like, oh, we didn't test for that and stuff. But it's not like I still don't blame the politicians for not knowing stuff. I do blame them for not letting people talk about it. Like
Right.
when Joe Rogan took what the fuck was that shit that they called the horse paste?
Oh,
Uh
ivermectin.
yeah, he took ivermectin and everybody like freaked out and was like, "Oh, you can't take
Horse
ivermectin."
paste.
And then it turns out that the only reason that they were stopping people from taking ivermectin and stuff was because if you had ways to treat COVID that would ruin the emergency um, allowance of the vaccines, like the emergency whatever,
Right,
the
because
emergency approval protocols,
right.
the EAP. So, anyways, I don't want to get too much into COVID
That's
because
another deep that's another deep dive
I
into a
don't
whole other
really need
topic.
to get canceled that hard because they're still canceling
Yeah.
people over this shit. So I
Are they
just want to
really?
say vaccines are safe and effective and they do stop the spread and they will stop you from getting harmed worse than you would if you didn't
I've
have them.
had all my vaccines. I got one recently, so
Yeah,
and
you're a booster guy. That's
I'm
fine.
a booster. So
I'm
I'm fine. I'm like I'm good.
yeah.
I don't really get sick, and I like that's one of those things where like I don't really know if it's like because of the vaccine or if I just don't know
Yeah.
when I'm sick.
Or it's because you're thick and
Because
healthy.
I'm incredibly I'm incredibly healthy. Yeah.
I'm like angry at both sides in the whole vaccine thing because it's like there's all these like problems with like the stem or the spike protein or whatever
Mhm.
causing problems in people who get it. But then I'm like, well, how do we know that they wouldn't have got like myocarditis is this big thing everybody talks about. It's like, how do we know that wouldn't happen with just getting COVID? But like since there was so much fuckery and censorship going on, we can
Yeah.
never have a adult conversation about this stuff because
You
you'll either get
cannot.
canceled or
Yeah.
you'll either get screamed at by take a pick, whichever team doesn't like what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And that's
talked about
another
the
thing about
didn't we talk
like,
about this on a previous podcast? Like in the same way as parenting, it's like if you see two parents at a playground and they're watching their kids and one of them's a helicopter parent and the other one's
oh
just sitting
yeah,
back and letting shit happen, no matter what you do, there's going to be somebody who's like, being a helicopter parent is terrible, and then and then another person will be like, no, head being the hang back parent is terrible, right? And it's like
hmm,
you can't win no matter what you do, right?
yeah. No, I get. Yeah, we
It's the
did
same
talk
with the
about this.
yeah, it's the same with the vaccine talk, right? Like you're gonna have those people that ardently believe that it does is completely ineffective, and other
Hmm.
people completely believe that it's absolutely effective and necessary, right?
Yeah.
And it's that division that that we see in politics too. This is exactly
Hmm.
the same thing that we have, right? Like if you want to talk about this, I know we're trying to keep this to Trump, right? And it's like
Hey, let's go, buddy.
my whole social media feed is people being like, "I can't believe people voted for Trump. I can't believe people voted for a convicted felon rapist to be the thing." And like, I totally can believe that they voted for him.
Hmm.
Like, I totally can because the easiest summation of the way that vote went is that people voted for themselves. They
Hmm.
voted personally for their own personal gain. They did not vote for the greater good of the people. Which if you're a this is that whole division of like if you're not with us, you're against us. It's black and white, blah, 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 blah. You can't have an adult conversation about this stuff because you're either one side or another. People who voted for Trump did so because it benefited them.
But also, people voted for Trump because, like me, I'm pro Trump because I was sick of being lied to. Like you were saying, the media darlings. Let's
Yeah.
go. I just want to jump back in this because, like, people's like saying, "Oh, Zelensky was this media darling," but there was like early talk of how I think it was like 3 months into the war, Zelensky and Putin had a peace agreement, and I'm just gonna look it up what it was because it was I had it written down
This is before the
somewhere.
war?
No, this is during the war, like 3 months in. Sorry, I'm just
No,
scrolling through
man.
my
Do you think
notes.
one downside to using my phone as the podcast setup is that I don't have access to the internet
Oh
handily. So I'm just
yeah.
like, hold on, let me Google that real quick.
Yeah,
So I'm going pure knowledge today. I don't have a computer in front of me, so I
yeah. Oh, here it is. So
really-
the it was never it was like a deal that Putin had give like was like I think they had just talked about it and it was
Hmm.
down like nobody's seen it down in writing, but there's been reports or whatever, and it was the deal was the war would end Ukraine if Ukraine would grant autonomy to the
Yeah,
Donbass region and agree to never join NATO. But then Joe Biden and the Western world, they sent Boris Johnson, remember that fucking
yeah, I
guy?
remember that guy.
They
Yep,
sent him in and he basically told Zelensky, he was like, "Hey, don't sign this agreement. You don't have to sign this. We can win this war. We got your back." So all this stuff. So on one
right.
hand, he was like, you feel bad for Zelensky because he was told that they would back him no matter what,
And then
and
they
that
absolutely did not.
and it was just like a proxy war to weaken Russia and stuff, and it
Yeah,
ended up just like destroying Ukraine. But
yeah,
one of the problems with this was if anybody said this out loud, they were called a conspiracy theorist. Like
right.
I remember saying all this stuff and then like people being like, that's not true, that's a conspiracy and all this stuff. And then you find out like Lindsey Graham is talking and he says shit like he says the crazy part out loud. He's just like, there's 14 trillion dollars worth of rare earth minerals under Ukraine. And
Right.
we can't just let Putin have that, can we? You want to just let them have that and then share it with China? And you're like, dude, you can't just say that shit out loud. Like
Yeah.
you have to go back to old school Republican war hawking when everything was a secret and you weren't like you never said it was about the oil, but everybody knew it was about the
Yeah, yeah,
oil,
yeah, totally.
which
Yeah.
is another funny thing that Trump said. He just like that's the one thing I always loved about Trump was he's like, we went for the oil. That's why we're there. So yeah, you have this Ukraine thing, and then fucking like, oh, the Democrats is just like they fucked up so many times, and like 5 days before Ukraine war like happened, like February 19th in Munich, there's this like I can't remember what the meeting was, but it was something that the vice president I think it was like a NATO meeting or
Mhm.
something, and the vice president always goes. So like of course Kamala Harris went and she gave the speech. She didn't specifically say we want Ukraine to join NATO, but she kept
Right.
like I read through the transcript and it says stuff like we've got Ukraine's back, we won't back down and all this stuff, and then they're like and NATO blah blah blah. So it was weird because it wasn't like I don't know, I'm not going to say dog whistle, but it wasn't like hey we want Ukraine to join NATO, but it was like they were kind of
Yeah, they
dancing
were sort of
around.
they're dancing around that. They're sort of hinting at that that's what they really want. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like it was oh yeah, one in one spot they're like, "Hey, we're going to back up Ukraine if like cuz at this point 5 days before they invaded Putin was amassing troops on the border and it was
Right.
pretty obvious that they're going to actually, you know what? Let me pull up the speech, see if I can find it. Um or wait, did I pull those notes out? No, I didn't. Okay, anyways, I got the story right here. It's like you could go to like White House Gov
Yeah.
briefings and you can find it. It's from like February 19th. Um, where the fuck was it? Oh, yeah. So, 'cause at this point, 5 days before the invaded Putin was amassing troops on the border, and it was pretty obvious that they're gonna actually, you know what? Let me pull up the speech, see if I can find it. Or wait, did I pull those notes out? No, I didn't. Okay, anyways, I got the story right here. It's like you could go to like White House Gov briefings and you can find it. It's from like February 19th. Where the fuck was it? Where is it? Sorry.
No, man. I'm not super entertaining right now. I apologize.
Hey,
I
you're
don't know.
always
I don't know what
rotate.
else to
You're
say.
always
Sort
entertaining.
of waiting for you to do this
Okay,
thing.
so here, let me see. Yeah. So, and let me be clear, I could say without absolute or with absolute certainty, if Russia further invades Ukraine, the United States, together with our allies and partners, will impose significant and unprecedented economic costs. Applause break. We have worked intensively with many of you in this room to ensure that we are prepared to move forward with consequences. We have prepared together economic measures that will be swift, severe, and united. We will impose far reaching financial sanctions and export controls. We will target Russia's financial institutions and key industries. And we will target those who are complicit and those who aid and abet this unprovoked invasion. Make no mistake, the imposition of these sweeping and coordinated measures will inflict great damage on those who must be held accountable. And we will not stop with economic measures. We will further reinforce our NATO allies on the eastern flank. Like, you see what I mean there? Like, she's
Yeah.
going through this big list of all the shit they're going to do to Russia, and she's like, and we're going to stick up
And we're
for
gonna
our NATO allies. So it's like,
right.
and then 5 days later, fucking
That's
Russia invades Ukraine.
right. And that's sort of the hint, and then it never
Yeah.
materialized.
It was
Yeah.
kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. By the way, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the link to that in the
In the
show notes
liner
if you want
notes.
to
Sweet.
read it's funny because you read that and you're like, why the fuck wasn't Kamala Harris making these speeches during her fucking campaign?
Yeah. That was kind of, so that was another thing. And I know it's again, it's sort of off topic, but I'm kind of like, I'm all over the map on this because I'm just
Mhm.
very the whole election thing was quite the ordeal. It wasn't. I just sort of knew what was gonna happen anyway. But the I hadn't heard much about anything about what Biden had been doing in the last few months leading up to the election.
We still
It
don't know.
The only thing I heard about was Harris and Trump.
Mhm.
Like it's back to that media spin thing where it's like such a machine that the only focus is on the upcoming election and absolutely nothing about what was happening currently in politics, right?
Mhm.
Like for literally the last like since the summer at the very minimum.
Yeah, it's like Joe Biden stepped down and then he's like, he's still president right now.
Yeah.
That's also another reason I'm glad Trump, like, just the mishandling of like Joe Biden. Like, people knew he had like mental, like,
Yeah. Like
regression since like 2017.
yeah.
It didn't become like popular knowledge till like, I guess, like 2020 or 2020. People are like, I don't know if we should get this guy as president. And then the media was like, no, he's fine, he's fine. Like, remember
He's
the
fine.
whole he's
Yeah.
sharp as a tack thing that was
Right.
happening like during this campaign. And
Yeah.
I think that really struck. And for me, I was like, you guys are fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no way. I mean, he
yeah.
just was like not like you see every interview with him, there was stumbling in there. Like, not that I'm a
Hmm.
perfect speaker in any fashion when I talk, but I mean, my faculties are in order, right? Like I can string a sentence
Yeah.
together. I don't start trailing off into a whole other topic that's of nonsense while I'm trying to focus on saying
Yeah.
something, right? I mean, maybe
Like,
that's what this podcast is 90% of the time is trailing off on a
yeah.
completely different tangent. But it was getting really bad. It was like
Oh,
getting
yeah.
tough to watch speeches with him.
Oh yeah, it was like, it's like me. Like, I always forget words. Like,
Yeah.
I just forgot regression and stuff. But
Yeah.
like, I don't do the same as him. Like, he's just like out of there, and you're like, and one of the things that should have happened was he shouldn't be like, in 2016 he promised he was going to be a one-term president. He's like, I'm just here. Or sorry, 2020 he promised he
2020,
was
yeah.
going to be a one-term president. He's like, I'm just here to get us back on the rails. Trump's a crazy person and all this stuff. And then he turns
Yeah.
around, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna run again. And everybody's like, oh shit.
Oh,
And I think a lot of it, like a lot of them throughout his like this term, people were like, all right, we just got to make it to 2020, then we could get someone else and he's done. And then he announces he's running again, and everybody's just like scrambling and like pretending he's like still mentally aware. And like, I
yeah,
mean,
dude.
he got so demented, he stopped sniffing kids' heads.
No,
That's
my
how
God.
demented he
I
got.
remember when all of that went down because like that was that whole thing where, and this was like another media piece of it,
Mhm.
and like there was I remember reading the speculation in the media is that he's actually a political genius the way he stepped down and allowed Kamala Harris to come forward and be the interim serving president. It was like a masterstroke in political strategy. And I was like, are you fucking serious? That guy
Was that
is
now?
gold.
Looking back,
Yeah.
cost the
Yeah.
Democrats the
Cost the
White
Democrats
House
the election,
and the
right?
Senate and probably the
Man,
House.
that was the storyline for a couple of weeks when Biden stepped down, is that that was a master stroke of creative political strategy. And I'm like,
Yeah, see, this is one of the things I'm talking about. Like the media was so on their side
yeah,
that it almost like hindered them. Like remember right before he stepped down, they were starting this like it barely saw the light of day, but there was this like campaign strategy where they're like, it's not just one man running the show. He has a
yeah,
team behind him. And
yes.
then that just like they just like we can't do this. That's basically saying that the deep state's running things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did a quick 180 on that
Yeah, and they're
yeah.
like, "Yee." Yeah, and then it's like everybody, and then what actually happened was, from what I've heard, like political experts say that basically Pelosi and Obama were like, "You have to step down right now." And
Yeah.
then another thing I heard was as revenge, because remember he stepped down over a Twitter letter, and then
Oh no, I don't remember that.
he didn't endorse Kamala till like
Oh,
1 or 2
way
days
late. That's
later.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So some people are saying that that was his revenge because he knew she wouldn't be able to do it. So he was like, if I don't get a win, nobody wins type of deal. Like
Yeah.
would a girl's or would a guy's like, if I can't love you, no one
No
will.
one else can. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So like basically there's
It's a
thoughts
red
that he
flag.
did that.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's wild. I just yeah, I forgot that he's like technically still the president. He's just
Yeah, it's crazy. Eh?
it
Like
is a little
what the
weird.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like I heard this guy
Welcome
on
to two.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was. Um I can't. Ah, fuck.
Welcome
I
to
gotta look it up now. I
welcome
can't
to
just
two
be like,
Canadian guys podcast about American politics.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just I want to bring up his name because, like, I guess that's also another thing people give me shit for is like, actually, I don't.
Who's this?
Nobody's.
Who's this guy? Again, sorry. You said is a guest on Tucker Carlson's show?
Yeah. Hold
I've
on.
never
I'm
seen it, so I
just
don't actually know.
looking for it.
I'm of zero help with let me just Google that real quick.
Yeah.
Fucking
Um,
stellar work, Jeff. As always, excellent journalistic integrity.
Mark Halperin was on Tucker Carlson on the 15th of
Don't know
October.
who that is.
He's just some guy. He's like a guy who's been a political journalist for like 40 years.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do actually. Yeah. Now I recognize the name.
Oh,
So he's a
you actually
political.
recognize the name? I had
I
no
do.
idea who he
Yeah.
was.
That was
Anyways,
a anyway, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
so anyways, he was saying that the way it works is Biden has these aides, and then he like because he's like sundowning.
Did you just say
So
Biden
he's
has AIDS?
yeah, he does. He has aides that
That's
help him.
that's not funny.
But,
That's not
but
funny.
welcome to South Park.
God.
But he has like these
Yeah.
aides, and they like he's like has dementia and stuff, but he has like these couple
Yeah. People
hour
that help him
windows
out
at certain times.
where he's
So what
lucid.
they'll do is they'll like save up the important shit to talk. This is what he says. So they'll save
Right.
up the important shit to talk about, and
When
then
he
when
has
he's
those moments
lucid,
of
they'll be like,
clarity. Yeah.
"Here's your checklist. Quickly read this and all this stuff." So
Yeah.
basically, he would do it that way, and then the people he trusts.
Which, like, that's terrifying that
Oh
somebody
yeah,
can run the country with 2 hours of lucid. That's the thing, man. Like, the American political system is absolutely genius for generating memes and like t-shirts and stuff. Like, I remember seeing a vote, it was like anyone under 80 2024, right? Like it was like
yeah.
it's like just there it is.
Mhm.
It's like these old people that they're asked to retire. Like you and I would be forced to retire by that age, right?
Oh
Like you
yeah.
guys have to stop working, but these guys can run the country.
Yeah. And one of the things is that
Fucking
all
two
these old
hours of
politicians
lucidity. Yeah.
stay in power down in the States because they
Yeah.
get free healthcare and it's basically a nursing home.
Yeah.
Like if you're like some like say Pelosi, you're getting your meals made for you, you're getting all this stuff. Like you're living the fat life and you don't have to pay for it. And it's like what's the alternative? You go live in a nursing home somewhere?
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
hope
totally.
that like somebody doesn't like
You
poison
show
you.
up for your paid for by the taxpayers catered lunches
Yeah,
every day,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. And then they get to fly everywhere first class or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Sounds like a
I don't know if
fucking
that's true. I just think they do.
yeah. I don't know exactly how that works. I'm sure there's private jets involved and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
you know. And yeah, Air Force One for the president is like paid for by the American taxpayers,
Yeah.
right?
And another thing that pisses me off about it's like the media thing is
You
just
know what
like,
grinds my gears?
yeah, okay. This is gonna be okay. Here's one.
All right.
So I'm gonna need a little bit of time
Okay.
to explain how this is a good thing. You're gonna need a little
Oh,
landing
good.
zone if you
This
don't.
can't miss.
Okay. So Trump sets up Republicans in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, not Trump. But he takes
But
like
he endorses it. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, not endorsed it. He took fuck, what's that word? This is me not being able to remember words. Anyways, he's like, this was all me, whatever.
Oh, he takes credit for it,
Yeah, he takes credit for it. Oh my god, my brain. How can
dude.
I have a podcast when my brain doesn't work? I'm just
Yes.
fucking Joe Bidening over here.
I'm just
Okay,
filling in the gaps for everybody at home.
so here's where I'm gonna need a little bit of time.
Okay.
Bear with me. This is gonna be bad.
Okay.
That was a very good thing because it showed that Trump keeps his promises. Not
Whoa. Okay. Whoa.
yeah,
Whoa. All right. I'm
this
gonna
is
give
how
you
I
the
need the
time. I'm
room.
gonna give you the time.
This is how I need the room. It's I'm not saying it's good that Roe v. Wade got overturned. I'm still pissed that the Dems never codified it when they had the chance because they had the White House 12 of the last 16 years, but that's not what we're talking about here. And I'm not saying I'm pro-life. I am very pro-abortion. I'm not even pro-choice. I'm pro-abortion. If you don't want to have a baby, don't have a baby. You're going to ruin his life. What I am saying is, as it looks right now, Trump keeping a promise that big and that bad is good for us who don't like war. Because the reason I'm saying he kept a promise was because he needed Pence as his running mate in 2016. And Pence was like this like super right-wing Christian guy. And for Trump to get the evangelical vote, he had to promise the pro-lifers that he was going to do his best to get Roe v. Wade overturned. And he set up the Supreme Court, and he did that as a follow through on his promise. Now, what are the promises he made during this election? That he was going to stop the Ukraine war in its tracks. It was going to be over. That's all I care about. I don't want to go to World War III. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm too old to serve, so I don't have to die, but I don't want to like watch everyone die and have like my life be worse. So in a way, that was a good thing because he went the extra mile to keep his promise. So this time, maybe he keeps his promise about World War III.
Hmm.
And that's the time I mean.
So
Did I
just
make
to
that not bad?
just to sum this up,
Yeah.
you're I'm going to use the word thankful that Trump followed through on his promise
Mm-hmm. Okay,
using
okay, wait, wait,
road.
wait, wait. Let me
Wait,
stop.
wait. Huh,
Okay. I was just gonna say, I'm thankful he followed through on his promise. I'm
right.
not thankful of the promise he made.
There we go. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I can live with that. To a degree. So, whoo, Dale, that was a big one. That's a
Yeah,
big one.
right? If I didn't lose my any like friend, I've already been blocked because I said I like Trump
yeah.
winning.
I'm gonna, I guess, exercise my white privilege saying I don't really care either way. It doesn't affect me, so fuck it,
Yeah.
I don't care. No, it's not that I don't care. You can see the writing on the wall for the Democrats a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Trump.
No.
There, I said it. I said my piece.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna say but in any fashion. I didn't
I'm
like
gonna say but.
I didn't like Harris either.
No.
So and in a two-party system where there are independents that get very, very, very few votes, it's sort of like if I were even an American at that time and had to pick, I don't know what I would do with my ballot. Right? And I don't think enough people would spoil their ballots in order to tank the election. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of elections. There's too much money at stake to not have a winner on either side of it. So what do you do? What do you do? Because like Trump is not the answer. And I know you like Trump, and I know that at least the majority of Americans like Trump. They fucking
Actually,
voted for him twice.
I tell you what you do. This actually leads. I'm sorry, I don't want me to
No,
cut you
go
off,
for
but
it.
that leads perfectly in to another reason why I'm glad the DNC lost. What they did to RFK.
Isn't the DNC the Democratic National
Yeah,
Convention? That's like an
that's
event.
like
That's not a party. That's a convention. That's like an
oh
event that happens.
wait, what's it called? The DN
The
what's
Dems.
the
So what do they call them? The Grand Old Party and
no, the Grand Old Party
the
is the
other was
Republicans,
Republicans. I think
which
they're just
makes
called the
it hard
Democrats.
to like
Dude, I know because
anything.
they referred to the GOP. They called it the GOP versus the Dems like on TV, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Yeah. Anyway, you were saying? I apologize. I cut you off.
Sorry, I've gotta
Nope.
now it's gonna bug me. We gotta like
What do you need to
it's
do? Oh, you're looking it up?
I keep referring it to the DNC
No,
because I
the
thought that
DNC
was
is the Democratic National Convention. It's an
yeah.
event that happens where they elect where they put forth their fucking person who's going to run.
So what do they call their party? Like how like you were saying like the GOP, what's the
They don't have. I don't think they have one.
is it just
Are
the
they the
Dem?
donkeys? They're the donkeys or
Yeah,
something,
they're the
right? The
donkeys
Democratic
against
Party. It literally like on TV it said GOP Dem under the votes.
oh
GOP and DEM as the two.
okay.
Like
I
like
just
it looked like a fucking sports score, which I always find
yeah.
really weird too, right? Because it's like, Cincinnati CIN versus Washington WSH. And it was that same thing where they used three fucking letters to
Yeah, I guess
describe
it's
the
just the
party. And I was like,
Democratic
it's just the
Party.
Democratic Party. So DNC is the event that they
All
hold.
right. I thought it was like the
Nah, dude, I have to correct you on this stuff. That I know for sure,
okay,
right?
so what is
The Republican
hmm.
National Convention.
Okay,
All right.
fine. I hate the Dems.
Yes,
Why didn't
that's it.
anybody correct me before this?
I don't remember you ever saying it until now. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
I kept saying like the DNC fucked around and found out.
No,
Okay.
it's that's an event, not a
Yes.
party.
Thank you. Hey, this is Dale. Just doing a quick pop in while I'm editing this podcast because the DNC actually is the group that runs the Democratic Party. It's the Democratic National Committee as well as the Democratic National Convention. So just another reason why I'm annoyed with the Democrats. They couldn't come up with two separate names for the two separate things, like one for the committee, one for the convention. I guess just another reason they failed us. Whichever group is in charge of the Democratic Party, I hate them. Like this gripe isn't even actually against Biden or Harris. This is just at the party for what they did to fucking RFK. Because RFK came along and I was like, this guy fucking, although he's super annoying to listen to, it is hard. I like heard him on Joe Rogan a couple times. I was like, this guy's spitting some truth. He's got some good stuff. And another reason why I'm glad that the Democrats lost, because every time I bring up RFK, people are like, he got brainworms. It's like, cool.
Oh my God.
You're ignorant. Now you got Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't be petty, but I'm Tom Petty on this one. You made fun of RFK and you got Trump. Did you learn your lesson?
No, nobody learned a lesson here. There's no lesson being learned. Man, yeah. Have you ever? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Because so what happened was RFK was going to be run as a Democrat, and I was like, I would vote the fuck out of RFK, and then they're like, oh, we're not having a primary this time around. And they're like, wait, what? And they're like, well, actually, sometimes in the past, the incumbents don't have a primary stuff. It's like, yeah, well, sometimes in the past, you didn't have an 80-year-old dementia patient. So this is like, I was so upset, so very emotionally upset. I wasn't upset, but I was like, I hope they lose.
Yeah. And you're just to that point, you're just done with it.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't want the Democrats to lose. I was like, I don't think this is right. But like how they didn't have a primary, they like ran a primary in like one state, just so that they could say they did it, and like 14 million people voted, and that was it or something. Like, I don't know.
And that's sort of that's a whole thing. This brings me back to another piece of how like even how we're talking right now and just watching this all unfold, how like the it's such a cult of personality versus like actually paying attention to the
Oh
fucking
yeah.
key promises and the key statements and the key fundamental uh party line pieces.
Hmm.
Nobody voted because of the particular politics. They voted on Trump. They voted Trump versus Harris. They didn't vote Republicans versus Democrats. They voted on people. They voted on what that person stands for them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they voted on that media darling versus voting on an actual policy platform that benefits people.
Hmm.
I think that's the part that bugs me the most is that we've moved and maybe it's always been this way. I can stand corrected. I'm a big man. I can fucking take it if I'm wrong. But I feel like, and this like because in Canada we don't vote this way.
Yeah.
In Canada we don't vote for a person, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't vote for Justin Trudeau. I don't vote for Jagmeet Singh. I don't vote for Pierre Poilievre. I don't vote for that particular person. I vote for the party in my riding that I want to do the best for me in this area where I live,
Hmm.
right? In the
Yeah.
US, you go to the polls and you push Trump or you check off Trump or you check off Harris or whoever the fucking Green Party person was and the other Communist Party people or whoever the hell else was right on the ballot.
Yeah.
The four fucking names on the ballot, two of which are basically throwaways, right? Like you
Hmm.
literally vote for a personality. So when you have somebody like Trump, who is a powerhouse of a personality, of course people are going to vote for them because people are, as a general rule, you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they are smart enough to know and read and understand the and do the research and figure out what the politics represents them. But it's
Hmm.
who,
But that's
yeah.
the thing. This time, Trump had better politics. Like he's running on ending war. He's going to give RFK the
I'm gonna not
ability
agree
to
with you on
fix
that
chronic
one.
disease.
Sure, Trump had better politics this time around than he did the first time that he
Yeah,
ran
see,
for
that's the other problem with Trump is like in 2016, he didn't know what he was doing and he was an idiot.
yeah.
2020, he was a less of an idiot. This time, it honestly feels like a completely different Trump. Like he's talking about he
Still the
wants to
same
make
fucking
sense.
guy.
He wants to get rid of censorship. He wants to like let RFK make everything healthy. He wants to get lawfare out of politics. He wants to like, oh, another great thing he said. He's like, I'm gonna stop people from like government officials who are on the like the board fuck the like the board that governs companies, like the people who like are on the board to like
Right.
like the
Yeah,
FD,
the board of governors for
FDA.
the
Is that it? Yeah.
yeah, the
So
FDA
whoever's
is
on
what
the
they call
board
it.
from FDA, they can't go get a job at Pfizer when they're done.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he's going to
Yeah.
get rid of that. And that's
Dude,
amazing to me. Like, yeah, why
most
is the person who runs FDA going to Pfizer and
you know,
vice versa?
fun fact, Dale, most
Hmm.
jobs have a clause in them when you sign for a job that for the at least the first 6 months to a year, you can't go off and use the IP that you learned at that company to start another company that's a competing company.
Hmm.
Like
Well, what are
that's
they
I
going to
don't know. In
do?
Canada, that's the way it is. That's
Start
the
a
way it is.
competing FDA?
Yeah, you can't really do that. That's right. Yeah. So it's that whole like
Yeah.
moving from public service to private contracting in
And
that
the whole
in
thing
a
is
similar field, right?
it's like, what were you doing at the FDA to get yourself a job at Pfizer
Yeah, yeah,
afterwards? So it's
totally.
like,
Right.
I like that whole thing. And then like he like the whole Maha make America healthy again doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same.
Yeah.
And like how
But
they're gonna
that's also
like
spin though. If you look at that from a pure PR perspective, that spin he needs to get away from the association to MAGA because that's still a strong call to a lot of
mhm.
people,
Oh,
right?
he still talks about MAGA.
I
But
know, but like
yeah,
the whole Maha thing is like literally a distraction technique to get away from the to like rebrand MAGA
well
a little bit
that's
and get rid
I
of that a
think
bit.
Maha is the RFK side of the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it sure. Yeah.
Like I just want to talk about RFK more because I love the guy.
It
So
seems
he
that you do. Yeah, yeah.
dude, I don't know why people don't like him. Like I hear about RFK and people are like, I don't like that guy. I'm like, he was a fucking environmental lawyer who
Yeah.
cleaned up rivers. How do you hate someone like that? And then he said something that like you know when say someone says something and it just like clicks in your head and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. Remember like
That's
10
never
years
happened
ago.
on the
Yeah.
show.
No, it's not. It's fine. You're welcome to fight me. It's whatever.
I'm not gonna fight. Yeah, I know.
Not like
Yeah, I know you.
fight, but like
Put up your dukes there.
give
Go
me
on, let's go.
pushback there.
Yeah,
So when RFK was on Joe Rogan, I've already lost many people because they hate Joe Rogan.
he says click.
Yeah. But he was talking about how in 2004, producers of wheat started spraying right before the harvest. They started spraying their wheat down with glyphosate so they wouldn't have to thresh it or like let it dry out naturally, because sometimes it gets moist again, and then the wheat's ruined, then you don't have as big of a yield. So
Right.
what happened was these like wheat producers started spraying it down with Roundup, and it would like dry it out, and it would also make it harder, so it was like physically
Easier to,
harder,
yeah,
so
so
it
it was
was
easier to
easier to
gather
ship
up.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And then this happened in 2004. What kind of started happening? Remember how like boomers were always talking about nobody was gluten intolerant when I was a kid and all
Yeah.
this stuff? Like
Yeah.
maybe
They still do. They still talk about that. Yeah.
like we're not going to just say, hey, maybe people started being intolerant to gluten when we started hosing it down with
Hosing it down with
Roundup.
chemicals. Yeah,
So
totally.
maybe
Like,
it's not the gluten, maybe it's the fucking chemicals on the wheat.
can I just tell you a little Roundup story really quickly,
Yeah.
just to bridge that gap a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
So, for people who don't know, Roundup's basically a pesticide, like, or not a pesticide. It's a de. Oh my God, what's the word for it?
Growth inhibitor,
No, it's not even a growth inhibitor. It literally kills plants. It's oh my God,
herbicide.
defoliator or something like that. It's
Oh,
not
it's
even a
on the
herbicide. Yeah,
defoliator.
it has a name for it. Anyway, I've got this piece of property that's just land, and we want to try to make a camping spot. So I
Home
know, so
property.
I bought some Roundup to try to like hose down an area to kill the plants, because the whole
Yeah.
point was to get rid of the brush and the grass in this one area so that we can make like at least a
Mm-hmm.
place to put our camp up, right? So I did that, and it worked great the first year, and then everything grew back later. But Roundup is like so deadly. I had bought two little like spray cans of it, and
Mm-hmm.
then I used one, and I brought the other one home, and I left it in the garage, and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
A couple of years passed, and the bottom got destroyed by the chemicals inside.
Oh damn.
So this shit like ate through the bottom of the thing, and I didn't have it like improperly stored. It was just on a shelf in my cool garage
Like in
in a
the it
dark
ate through the
space. It ate through
bottle
the
it was in.
plastic. It ate through the bottle that it was
Damn.
in. Yeah, it's that caustic that it did that.
Yeah,
So
and there's like this huge class action lawsuit of all these people who got cancer from Roundup.
yeah, it's fucking terrifying. Like when I
Yeah.
cleaned it up, I had a mask and gloves on and everything, and I took it to the city, and I'm like, "What do I do with this?" And they're like, "We don't fucking want it." And I'm like, "Cool. How am I supposed to get rid of this?" So anyway, I
Yeah.
buried it in your backyard.
Nice.
So no, I'm just kidding. I eventually
At the apartment building I live at.
I had to take it to a Nassau Island or something, to like this chemical plant. I can't remember where it
Mm-hmm.
was, to dispose of it properly.
You just pour it in the fucking sewer.
Well,
The
I
sewer
gave
treatment
them,
plant.
no, it was like I gave them the rags I soaked it up with in a garbage bag, and I'm like, this was Roundup at one point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So transporting that in my car, if I have lung cancer in the next few years, that's why.
Sorry, I'm just
No,
looking through. Oh yeah. So talking about RFK. Oh,
yeah, I don't know much about RFK. He's one of
dude,
the
he's
Kennedys,
a
is he not?
fucking dude's a bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro,
Like, he's a
I've seen
bro.
pictures of him. I've seen like the Onion make scathing
Yeah, dude.
comments about
Everybody
him, but I
makes
know
fun of
nothing
him
about him.
because he had this like parasite in his brain, and it
He
was
had
like a
brain worms.
worm, and it died, and
Yeah.
it's like so there's like a little dead worm in his head, and everybody like every time I say something nice about RFK, they're like, "Is that the guy who had a brain worm that died?" And it's like, yes.
Oh,
God,
that explains one of the memes that I
fuck.
saw.
I'm just so happy Trump won because of those people. Like,
Right.
here's like RFK gives us like a beautiful speech on why he's dropping out of the running and he's going over to endorse Trump. And during that speech, he says, we need to love our kids more than we hate each other.
Right.
And I was like, that's a beautiful sentiment. And that's exactly what we should do. So I tweet this being like, look at this smart thing someone else said, and look how smart I am for noticing it's smart. And then people made fun of RFK. And I was like, your world deserves to burn down. You guys
So
don't. deserve RFK.
Here's the problem right here. You're on Twitter still.
That's true.
That's
That is
the
very
problem.
true.
Dude, I abandoned that
I
shithole
should
so long
definitely
ago
get off
now.
of it.
Like it's I don't even, and I don't mean this offensively to you. Here's some pushback.
Mhm.
I don't even like I don't even like have any stock or faith in anyone who says, "Hey, I read this on Twitter about something." I'm like, "Good for fucking you. That's
That's
great." I
true.
I don't have that anymore, and I don't know. I don't know right now if things are real or not real anymore. Right? Like
It's a
the
good
reality line is blurred on
mindset to be
Twitter.
in.
None of that shit
Yeah.
is real on Twitter. Everything on Twitter is fucking fake and garbage, and it's an absolute dumpster fire. It's controlled by Elon Musk, and he makes the rules there, and it's not a valuable source of information. So when you put that on there, you might even have a good point. But the people
Yeah,
that
it's
are
true.
going to respond to you are going to be total fucking trolls, and there's no control. Like they can say whatever the hell they want, and it doesn't make any sense. And people's lives are ruined by this fucking platform that people speak so highly of as a news source. And like
That's
for
a very
me,
good point.
as a former journalist, it fucking that chaps my ass because it's like it's not it would grinds my gears, but it like because it's misinformation. It's difficult to sort out what's real and what's fake,
Mhm.
and there's no accountability for people responding to or posting on that platform. So you might have a great point. You might have a salient point about RFK being somebody wonderful, but the diametric opposition of everybody on that site and everybody in reality are going to skew that one way or another, and
That's true.
there's no victor, there's no winner, there's no loser. Not that it's about winning and losing, but there's not even a truth.
Mhm.
The truth is a different to everyone involved in that transaction,
Yeah. And
and
I mean, you make a
that's what I
valid
have.
point.
Yeah,
I don't get news information off of Twitter. I get it all off podcasts. So,
yeah, but
but
that's
I
a
just,
podcast is just a Twitter conversation in real life, like you and I talking right now,
yeah,
right?
but
Like to a
it's
degree.
not podcasts like this. I listen to like news
No, I know.
podcasts and
I know.
people who have the
Things that are
receipts to
vetted
back
and
it
yeah,
up and stuff.
totally, right?
Yeah.
And I mean that's you know, it that is what it is, right?
Mhm.
Like it's and then people also have to think for themselves and think independently and have oh my god, now my brain's not working. What is the thing that you have to have like objectivity, but
Yeah.
like it's objectivity and it's like common sense and objectivity. Oh my god. Come on, Jeff. Brains anyway, those two things, but it's like if there's a word for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna bother me. It'll come to me at 2 o'clock in the morning. But you have to like critical thinking. You know you
Mhm.
have to have that. You have to have that ability to separate the wheat from the chaff. And it's harder and harder to do that in regular everyday life. It's harder to do that on this podcast, right? Like
Mhm.
your truth is different from my truth, is different from RFK's truth, is different from Trump's truth, is different from Kamala Harris's truth,
Yeah.
right? And so how do we know what's real anymore? And I'm not being like I'm not trying to be like conspiracy theory guy. What's real? There's nothing real, and I gotta wear a tinfoil hat. You have
I
to
mean,
like
one way
you
to
have to do
find
the
out
best
what's
you can.
real is you find out if they are in reality spraying Roundup
Right.
on wheat.
Yeah, yeah,
And they are. I
totally.
Googled it. They
Yeah.
are.
And I'm sure they
Sorry,
are,
I
right?
DuckDuckGo'd it.
There you go. I knew you didn't Google it. Yeah. Let me duck
um,
duck go that for you.
yeah, so in closing, I started wanting Trump to win when RFK dropped out and went to
Right.
his side. That was the point because I was like, RFK doesn't win, but if enough people vote for RFK, it'll make the Dems kind of question their motives and they won't treat people like that. They won't do
Right.
another fucking Bernie Sanders in 2016
Yeah.
where Hillary fucking cheated him and then the person who ran like the like thing, the party fucking stepped down because of all the corruption, and
Yeah.
then that bust. And okay, like Russiagate, we always talk about like everybody's talking about how Russiagate, which was all false by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody lied. We wasted 3 years of Trump's first fucking thing talking about Russiagate. But the one thing nobody ever fucking talks about, like they all said Russiagate and like how Putin helped Trump get the thing, and that's what the whole story. The whole theory of Russiagate was that Putin hacked Hillary's emails,
Right.
and then the fucking that's how Trump learned about her cheating Bernie in the primaries. And everybody says, yeah, Trump got help from Putin, and so he's and it's like nobody cares. about what was in the
What was in the
emails.
yeah. The
Like
content
nobody
is the
just gives it.
content is
We're all just like, oh,
inconsequential.
I can't believe
Yeah.
Russia helped him hack those emails. It's like, you don't care what was on the fucking emails?
Yeah.
That's another reason why I hate the Dems.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Totally.
And
Totally,
it's
man.
like, and then like there's this thing, like, I don't know how much you trust, but Trump, he was like, when I got elected, I could have sent Hillary to jail, but I didn't because it would have been bad for the country. And if that's a true statement, that's good on him, and it makes
Yeah.
him look more prim and proper than he usually does. I don't know if that's true or not, but that whole
Non Tom Petty.
yeah,
Yes.
that whole fucking Russiagate just chaps my ass.
Yeah. And rightly so, man. Rightly
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Because even if it, because and then someone said that the way that like some hacker person or whatever
I love
tech
that term
guy,
hacker. Yeah,
yeah,
the
he would,
hacker. It's just
yeah,
like it's like a fairy or a ghost or a
yeah.
spirit or a mystery. The hacker got me.
It's
Yeah,
been stated that for those emails to get released, it had to be someone on the inside.
yeah.
It was somebody inside the
It was a
house.
hacker.
It couldn't have been Russia. But anyways, and like
Cue
it
the
just annoyed me
mask.
so much that whole time that was going on. I was like, nobody cares. I didn't even care if Russia did hack her email and give them to Trump because she just fucked over. And back then, I loved Bernie.
Right. You were a
I
Bernie
was a
bro
Bernie
back then?
bro.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
I
Yeah,
definitely was,
yeah.
which is funny because like usually I'm pretty left, and
Hmm.
so for me to
Yeah,
say
to
I
be.
like Trump
Yeah,
hurts me
that's
more than anyone.
no,
Like I said,
and that's why I thought this was an interesting podcast for you to come on
yeah.
and make that statement because I know you. I've known you for a really long time, and
Hmm.
I know that you're not really a Republican leaning dude. But I
Yeah.
also kind of understand your media habits, and I kind of know I know that you got Rogan brainwormed into
Yeah.
believing in
Well,
Trump.
there's
It's
one
not
thing I
that
fucking
it's,
hate more than anything, and that's when people think they're better than you and they lie
yeah,
to you. And
yeah,
that's basically what the left media has been doing for like 8 years. And it's
yeah,
like, it just exacerbates all of the problems. Like, we wouldn't be dealing with Trump right now if the left could just like fuck off with their, like, they basically lied their way into killing legacy media.
yeah.
Like, is anybody gonna fucking watch MSNBC now
I
after
never
they're all
did,
like, well,
but
you
yeah,
know what
but I
I
know what you
mean?
mean. Yeah, it's
Like,
now a
or is
definitive,
anybody
but
gonna
yeah,
read a newspaper after they're ball washing Kamala Harris and being like, oh, she
yeah,
has a really good chance, even though she like after she got like selected
yeah.
to run, she didn't do an interview for like over a month. Like,
Yeah, and
what the
then
fuck?
on election night, I think I read that she conceded before Trump had the requisite number of actual votes.
Yeah, well, she could see where it was going,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she like
we all could see right away, right?
she went home.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
like, there was a statement. They're like, yeah, Kamala Harris isn't going to make any more appearances. It's like,
yeah,
what?
yep, just like completely gave
It's
up,
like,
right?
fuck it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I mean, at the end of the day, and I know we need to wrap up for time. Trump, America has spoken, and that's who they want as their president, and that is completely
mhm.
fucked up, and it's an irresponsible choice. But I understand why they made it because it's just like the
They,
Democrats' platform. Other than a few key pieces, the Democrats' platform really wasn't that
yeah.
strong, right? The
And it
Republicans'
was just
platform wasn't
all the lying.
necessarily. Yeah, it's all the lying and all the fucking like. Have you seen? There's a comedian, Neil Brennan. Have you
Yeah.
seen Neil Brennan? Have you seen that one? I think it's from 2022. It's called Blocks.
Yeah. I saw it.
Did you see that? And like he explains like in great detail in a comedic fashion exactly what's wrong with the Democrats.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was incredibly poignant. So if you get a chance to see that, I know you have seen it like that, like it's like, holy shit, he just broke down exactly what
Hmm.
the problem is with the Democrats platform.
And the problem, and like, okay, this is the last thing I'm going to bring up.
Okay.
Oh, okay. One thing I want to touch before the last thing I brought up, the 34, like the 34 felonies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This yeah.
Fuck off. It's just one felony. It was 130 grand check made out to a porn star that he had sex with. And then that was the guy who, okay, here, I'm going to read this thing.
Okay.
So Cohen pays off Stormy Daniels 130 grand. That's not what this is about. Then Trump goes, hey, I got to get you that money back that you paid before, which, whatever the fuck, it's hush money, it's bad, whatever. I don't think it's felonies. So he gives her, so Trump pays Cohen 130 grand, gives him a little $50,000 to pay for the taxes on everything. And then he gives him an extra 60 grand as a bonus for Cohen. And then I can't remember what else gets put into it because they don't really say. Well, it's not that I don't remember; it's that they don't say what exactly gets it up to 420,000. So this $420,000, they want to pay a little each month over the year.
Yeah, amortized payments.
But they put 2 checks, so it ends up being $35,000 checks, 11 of them, because the first check is broken to 70,000.
Right.
So you have these 11 checks, one for 70,000, the rest for 35,000. Yeah. So, and then but he like said that this check was a retainer for Cohen because that was his lawyer or whatever.
Yeah, lawyer fee, yeah.
So every time he was paid, a bookkeeper generated a record for the company's files known as a voucher. So he gives Cohen this check. The bookkeeper says, okay, here's a voucher for that check. And then the description's like legal expenses or anything. And then the invoice comes from Cohen to Trump or whatever. And then there's the checks. And then there's the vouchers. So that's where these 34 charges come from. He gets 11 felony counts for the 11 checks he wrote. He gets 11 felony counts for the 11 invoices he wrote. Mm-hmm. And he gets 12 felony counts for the vouchers. So that's 34 altogether. So every time everybody's like, oh, these 34 fucking felonies, I can't believe it. And you're like, well, that sounds pretty fucking bad. But it's all like,
it's 34 felonies related to the same incident.
Yeah, but it's just one thing, and it's only $130,000.
It's still 34 felonies.
But
that's not in question.
It's so annoying.
It's one event, but it generated 34 felonies.
Yeah, but the $35,000, like,
yeah,
are we really gonna?
That is what it is. It's still 34. It's 34 separate and individual counts of a crime.
Yeah,
right.
Which, if it wasn't in New York, would have been a misdemeanor or whatever. Is what people say.
And
the reason it was a felony,
you know, in the US,
because like, you're not allowed to
felonies, right?
Sorry. Well, the reason this was a felony was because you're not allowed to pay people money to make yourself more electable, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So him paying Stormy Daniels to hush up was him paying for his own electability.
Yeah.
Which should have been the one felony was, to me, it should have been Cohen should have, like, that money that Cohen gave Stormy Daniels, that should have been the felony, not these checks to Cohen to reimburse him.
So I'm not clear on, so what exactly is happening with this? He has these felony charges, but they haven't been prosecuted yet?
He's guilty.
Right.
And he's going to be sentenced in like later this month, I think.
So what happens in the sentencing? He won't see jail time?
He could go to jail.
So what happens in that event if a president goes to jail?
As soon as he becomes president, he gets out, because the Supreme Court also passed this thing where
right.
But everybody's saying, I can't believe the Supreme Court did that, but they should be pretty happy they did that for Biden.
Right.
Because the Hunter Biden laptop,
right.
Surprise, surprise, was fucking real.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. His fucking kid got $400,000 from Burisma for 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's a Ukrainian like energy. So like Biden's got all this shit that he's going to have to worry about. But now that the Supreme Court said that presidents can't be held guilty. Hi, come here.
Oh, hey, we have a visitor. All right.
So baby break. My baby just ran in naked, so we can't have that in the pod. We were talking about the Biden laptop, which turns out which is annoying because they fucking made it so you couldn't share the story or whatever before the 2020 election, and well, that would have changed everything and blah blah blah. But it's so annoying. So anyways, the Supreme Court changing it so that a president, I can't remember what exactly happened, but it's like a president can't be tried legally for the
Yeah,
actions he does while he's the president, which also kind of gets Bush and Cheney and
it gets
Obama
yeah, it's
off the
everybody
hook
out of
for all
hot
these
water.
war crimes that nobody was ever going to bring up anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
everybody
I forgot
makes
about
it
that.
seem like it's this like super bad thing because Trump gets to get away with paying some fucking like porn star 130 grand, as opposed to all the other presidents who just now get away with war crimes.
Right? Yeah,
Fuck.
it seems like an unfair trade-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's still like Trump's a fucking menace. Like he's a menace.
I don't know about that.
He's a
He
rapist and
did
he's
get
a
the ball rolling to get the
thug and
troops out of Afghanistan.
but he's a fucking I don't
He
know,
didn't
dude.
start any
I don't
wars.
know.
The only president in how long who didn't start a war? Okay, maybe he made some wars worse. And I don't know if we count Syria as a war.
If you throw fire on a war, does that count?
No.
Oh, it doesn't
But
count.
yeah,
Doesn't count starting a
also
war. It's just fueling a war.
I said something online on Twitter like you said I shouldn't, which I probably shouldn't.
I
Oh
know.
no, this was on Facebook,
Okay.
which a guy I used to know fucking blocked me on Facebook because I said I was pro Trump. But someone else was like, "Oh, did you know he dropped the MOAB, which is the massive air ordnance bomb or the mother of all bombs that people call it? And it's this like 20,000. It's the biggest bomb you can get that's not nuclear,
Ah,
and it's like 20,000 pounds. And they had them lying around because they made them for Bush during the first or the
the Gulf War.
yeah, the Gulf War.
Yeah.
And then Trump was like, "Do we still have some of those laying around?" And they're like, "Yeah." So he fucking dropped one on this ISIS mountain base, and is like, it's basically this mountain and had all these tunnels and shit in the
Yeah.
base. So Trump drops it on there, which I think is a big dick move, and I'm all for because no civilians got killed. 36 ISIS members got killed, and it just obliterated this mountain base, which is fucking dope as shit. But people bring that up as like a bad thing, like, oh, did
Well,
you know he dropped the biggest bomb, blah blah blah? And it's like it was on a mountain in the fucking hills of Afghanistan.
yeah,
Doesn't
but
count. Also, it's dope as shit.
I don't know about dope as shit. Taking human
Hey,
lives is not necessarily dope as shit, but
taking
yeah,
36 lives compared, like, it's funny because you
I
hear
don't know,
stuff
man.
like you hear
Yeah,
about like the old stuff where we're talking about lives and war and stuff, and then you like look at the numbers in Gaza, like the civilians killed there, and it's just like it dwarfs it so fucking much. You're like, oh, like they just shoot hellfire missiles into like UN refugee camps and they like light the tents up on shit, and you're like, oh well, fucking like thousands of people are dying all the time, and you're like, and then you hear like people get mad that Trump killed 36 ISIS people with like the biggest bomb ever.
oh,
If anything, they should be mad about how fucking
oh, they're mad.
inefficient he was with that bomb.
Oh man. Yeesh.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I'm not even getting into that.
Yeah,
Is the fucking genocide that happened under Biden.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
deplorable. And we can't even talk about it because it makes us racist to say it's bad for Israel to fucking blow up Gaza.
It's not even getting any better.
No.
It's
And
getting worse every day.
the actual worst thing about Trump is it'll probably get worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although he did do this weird dog whistle thing. I don't know if it's a dog whistle, but there was an interview.
You said dog whistle a couple times. What do you mean by that? Like a
Okay,
dog
so
whistle
dog whistle
is
is when you
inaudible to
say
humans.
something and it's not what you actually mean. It's like it's basically
A double entendre? No.
no, it's like when you say a dog whistle, it's like you're supposed to be like basically gathering your people around you secretly. It's like a code for like, hey, everybody get ready.
Okay.
Like they always say Trump dog whistles because he'll say something and then they'll be like they're
Oh,
saying that it's
like
him for like
January 6th, for example. Like he didn't
yeah.
actually start that insurrection, but he
Yeah, that's exactly
did.
it. Like he
Okay.
said, everybody stay home, don't go in the building.
Right.
What he should have said, don't go in the building because it's littered with federal officers who will open the doors for you. And I don't want to get into
Right.
that either.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
I get you now.
so there was this thing where it was like a weird interview. It wasn't a weird interview, but it was like this one interview where he said something like they should come to a deal. And I was surprised that it was Netanyahu that didn't want the deal. So Trump was like alluding to the fact that he was surprised that it was Netanyahu holding back the peace in Gaza. Like, So maybe that's a good sign that he would get a deal strike. I don't know, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath. I
I
just,
yeah.
for me, the best case scenario is Trump stops World War III in Ukraine between Russia. That's best case scenario.
And that
Worst
takes
case
it back to
scenario
the
is it just
beginning.
gets worse.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But it's pretty hard to get worse because they already have, like, the only way Trump could make Ukraine worse is if he puts boots on the ground.
Right.
Because Biden said they wouldn't give him tanks. That would be like a Russia red line, so they gave him tanks. He said they wouldn't give him F-16s, then he gave him F-16s. He said he wouldn't give them long-range missiles because he didn't want them to strike targets in Russia, and then he gave them long-range missiles. The only thing they haven't done is put boots on the ground, which would be
That's
unequivocally World War
that's
III.
that's crossing a line is having troops going in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the distance killing is no problem, but
Oh, it's
the
a
second
problem.
one,
It's just
it's
Putin
less
hasn't
of a problem.
retaliated yet.
Right. Yeah. This is one for the Dale show. I
What?
read something the other day
Yeah.
that said that Putin hasn't been alive for like a couple of months.
Well, like it.
Yeah.
Wait, who did the Tucker Carlson interview then?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I heard that it's like a body double and shit. I don't know. You never know what's real anymore. I just don't know what's real
Oh
anymore.
man, did you ever look into the Joe Biden body double stuff?
No.
Fuck,
The
somebody
Avril
made
Lavigne body double stuff, yes.
somebody made the funniest post, and I can't remember what it was, so I shouldn't have brought it up. But they're like, "What are they get? Are they I can't remember. What it's like, oh, are they going to send all of Biden's body doubles to jail too
Oh my
when Trump
God.
sends Biden to jail?"
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your body double has to serve time with you as well.
Oh, another weird thing. Did you see that Tom Hanks statement about how he's leaving the country because he
No.
doesn't want to go to jail?
Why
It
would
was
Tom
like
Hanks go to jail?
fucking
What did he
weird.
do? What did he do?
I don't know. I
Oh.
think it was because everybody's afraid that Trump's going to put. Oh, that this is okay. This is my final statement.
Okay, we got to
For
wrap it up. I know you need
okay,
to go.
we're wrapping it up. We had baby interruptions, all this
Yeah.
stuff. It's fucking 9:18. We've been
Oh,
going over an hour.
I don't
Okay,
have a clock.
the one overall overarching thing that pisses me off about the left is they keep saying Trump's going to do all this stuff that they're currently doing to him. They're like, he's going to use the justice system to go after his enemies. And it's like, you mean like you're doing to him right now?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? And
Yeah.
then they're like, all this stuff. So, yeah. That I just thought of that because of the whole Tom Hanks thing.
Right. Right.
But
So I got some research to do because I got to figure out what the hell's happening with Tom Hanks and why he's leaving the country.
yeah.
Where's he going to go? Iceland? Canada? Somewhere with no extradition? What's happening?
Okay. So, um, let's just end it with what we
Sure.
think's going to happen January 6th, 7th. Which is the day Trump actually takes office? The 6th?
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I don't actually know what that date is.
Let's just say on the day Trump actually takes office,
Yeah.
what do you think the first thing he does is?
Wow. I hadn't ever even thought of that. Man, no idea. I have no idea. I can't call that. I can't even call that. I
Yeah,
don't
I
even
know.
know. It's
It's hard.
unfathomable. I can't get into that dude's mind. Bill Clinton, first thing he would have done is go find out if there's aliens. Show me Area 51. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell Trump would do. Somehow pardon himself or get himself excused from something.
I think he'll already be pardoned.
I know, but I'm
Wouldn't
just
that be
like
fucking rad if it was like
give
Orange is the
himself
New Black? He just shows up
in
in
a
the
prison
fucking
suit.
orange prison suit.
Shows up in a jumpsuit and white
Yeah.
Vans. I'm like, yep, oh yeah, okay.
You know what I would do if I was Trump on my first
What?
day? I would pardon Hunter Biden
Whoa,
as a big
whoa,
fuck you to everyone.
whoa. Bold, wow, Dale.
Yeah.
Jeez. Jeez. Yeah, I couldn't even seriously, man, I can't even fathom or think of anything
Yeah.
that he would do on the first day of office. I don't even know, like the next 4 years are gonna be wild.
I'm super pumped to see how far into this like make America healthy again. Like how far they like Like it's not that I don't think they don't want to do it. It's that I don't think they can. Like, how are they going to tackle like the food deserts and
Yeah.
basically feeding the country? Like they're like talking about getting rid of processed food. It's like you still need that to feed everybody. So it'll be interesting to see it. It would be nice if the states had like started doing stuff like they fucking put like titanium oxide in Skittles just to make the colors brighter.
Dude, I know. I
Like
know.
fucking have dull Skittles,
Yeah,
idiots.
who cares, right?
They
It's
don't
not.
like up here, like we have
We
different,
have dull Skittles for sure. They're just
yeah,
kind
we
of
have different
a dusty
chemicals in
looking.
like our Fruit Loops than they do. Like they
Yeah.
have titanium oxide in their Fruit Loops. And it's
Yeah.
just like we switched like however long ago. And it's like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck
I
how
don't give a
bright the
shit.
color of your food is.
Yeah. I
I
do
just don't,
remember. It's funny, man. We bought some Fruit Loops a little while ago,
yeah.
and Arlie poured a bowl, and I looked at my wife and I was like, "Were Fruit Loops brighter when we were younger?" And she's like, "Yeah, they definitely were." And I was like, "Yeah, they totally were. Like they're
Yeah.
quite dull looking now." But
Yeah.
again, who cares? It was just like a weird thing that I noticed after we poured a bowl of
No,
cereal.
yeah, no, it's definitely noticeable. And like, yeah, like all food just like is off, but in the end, it doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah.
food. You're just gonna shit it out anyway.
Like hopefully this will be the time when the states brings their food, like their food rules and stuff up to like Canada
Yeah.
and Europe's level.
But then you don't have a reason to go get American snacks from across the
That's
border.
true.
Do a TJ's run. I gotta go down there and get those
Yeah.
peanut butter bites, or I'm gonna lose my mind. Yeah,
All
totally.
right. I think I
Oh my
got through
god.
my whole list of why I'm happy Trump won.
Yeah, I guess for me it would be like uh trying to be hopefully optimistic about
Yeah.
everything, and hopefully Trump does something good with this 4 years.
Yeah. And of
Right.
all the things that Trump has said he's gonna do, he said like 10 things. Even if he only does one or two, it's still very fucking impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like,
Oh, I should have had
I
that
hate the
list.
guy. I don't understand why people voted for him. I mean, I do understand why people voted for him. I wish they didn't. You can't change the past, so you can only be hopeful for the future. And all we have is right now. So I want, if Donald Trump, if you're listening to this podcast, fucking do something good with
Mhm.
your time in this space. Don't fuck it up.
Oh yeah, there's so he released a video or whatever saying what he's gonna do. Sorry, I was looking through, I was looking up to see if there's a list, but there isn't. It's a video you have to watch. Anyways, sorry,
Yeah.
whatever. Look it up on TikTok
Yeah. Look it
or
up on
on
TikTok.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Even though Jeff says don't go on Twitter,
Don't go on
don't go on
Twitter.
Twitter,
It's
but
bad
it's
for your
on
brain.
Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Read a
I
book for
will, you
fuck's
know what?
sakes.
I'm going to repost it from the Outrage Fact Pod Twitter account. So if you're, oh, I think I'm on that right now. Um, yes, Outrage Fact Pod on Twitter. If you want to see our Twitter account, I'm reposting that.
Our our Twitter account. Oh, pshaw. It's Dale's Twitter account. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
am
Sorry.
not there.
I meant we the Royal We
We the
Outrage
royal
Factory
we.
as an
Yeah.
entity,
Yeah.
not just me. So I'm reposting that.
Outrage Factory Podcast Group LLC.
Yeah. So you can go see the list of the stuff because Trump made a statement of all the things he's gonna do.
Right.
So and they're fucking bangers.
Yeah.
Slappers. Like there's a couple where you're like, yeah, I don't know about that. Where it's like talking about like he's like super hard against censorship and stuff, which is dope. He's like all like free speech and then just like the Americans and free speech.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're just fucking like
Yeah. They love their free speech. Anything
yeah,
freedom related.
yeah,
Eagles and flags and shit.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on? Do you
No,
want to
I
distance yourself from my opinions?
I mean, it's not that. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I'm trying to be as adult as possible about this. And I mean, I don't agree with you on a lot of things, but also I do agree with you on some things. And I
Mhm.
just like uh there's kind of no sense crying about a democratic loss. We have to live with this now. We don't really have to live with this. We're Canadians, but we will have to deal with the outfall of this come our election time too,
Oh,
right? Like it's,
yeah.
there's going to be a reckoning, and I see it in people that I follow on social media, and people that follow me, and people I've known for a long time who've had it with Trudeau, and I get it. I understand why, but I don't know, like I don't we. Canada is kind of America Junior in a lot of aspects, right? And I think politically that's trickling this way. And I just like I just want people to really fucking consider their stances. And I know you want to love Trump, but then are you
I
like a
don't want
Polyev
to love
fan?
Trump.
Yeah,
It's such a hard, like, I don't want to love Trump. I'm just happy he won, and I hope he passes these stuff.
See, I'm neither happy nor sad that he won. I just want, like I said, I want him to do something fucking good with his time there. And I hope that he figured that shit out by now.
I'm more happy the Democrats lost than I am.
Yeah, yeah, and I get that. I get that.
Because they got to figure this shit out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's we have a lot of work to do in this country politically as well to like not fall down this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. I wanted to jump in on your opinion. Yeah. I think this does affect us a lot because Canadian politics is downstream of American politics. And since Trudeau is such a fair weather politician where he just like sees where the opinion is and goes and makes moves and statements on that, he's going to see how far right seemingly, I guess you could say what happened in the States. He's going to see that and see that it's coming here, and he's going to try to appease the boiling masses so that there's less chance of him getting taken out in our election in a year. So
but that's sort of what the Democrats did, and it fucking backfired on them.
Yeah, but they went about it the wrong way. They kept all the like trans and culture stuff, and then they just lied about a bunch of stuff, and then they just accepted the Cheneys. So basically the Dems went about the Dems were trying to ape what the Republicans did, and they did it in the worst way possible.
Right. Yeah.
They basically just became war hawks and didn't help anyone.
Yeah.
They've like took the bad side of the Republicans, and they're like, this is us, we're Republicans, we like war and making rich people richer, and everybody's like, yeah, actually that's kind of fucked up. We're not like that. So I feel like Trudeau is gonna like probably cool down all the DEI stuff that everybody's super pissed about, maybe back off of the ESG stuff, and maybe he'll get that fucking pipeline he bought running.
Oh my god. The one that runs through my neighborhood? Cool. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, is that the one that is it the Trans Mountain?
That's the Trans Mountain that runs right through my street was closed for 2 years.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That is the one he bought, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, it's running. Are we affected? Right. I mean, Burnaby Mountain could start on fire if the refineries fuck up
anytime. Yeah, totally.
But they're not going to.
It'll be a beacon of Gondor in the hills of Burnaby.
Yeah. You should like take a picture and be like, anytime someone complains about Trudeau, you'd be like, yeah, look at this pipeline he made.
I can show it. You can see it. We'll go for a walk one day. I'll show you where it is.
I know exactly where it is. It runs up Gaglardy.
Yeah. Gaglardy. Hard G. Love it.
Wait, how do you say it?
It's Gaglardy.
It's not Gaglardy?
No, it's Gaglardy.
Oh, I've been saying Gaglardy my whole life.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, whatever.
Even Google Maps fixed it. It used to say Gaglardy, and now it says Gaglardy.
Oh, it doesn't even have the G anymore.
It's not supposed to be pronounced. Yeah.
Oh. But there is a G in the spelling?
Correct.
That's why I've never heard it said out loud.
It's Gaglardy. Yeah, it's an Italian word. It's Gaglardy.
Gallardo.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We should fucking...
There's a little Italian history lesson with Jeff.
We'll end it before we piss off that group of people.
Yeah, totally. They're going to come after us.
Add them to the list.
Don't make the hand motion. You're going to get in trouble.
All right.
Okay, man.
Thank you for doing this. Thanks for hearing me out.
Thanks for entirely ruining my reputation for the remainder of my life.
And if anybody was wondering why I like Trump or why someone would like Trump, I hope I enlightened you. And I guess in closing, I just want to say, hear other people out. Or
have an adult conversation about it.
Yeah, exactly. Be like I am. I am completely agnostic about politics. I don't know I'm willing to believe anything as long as you can prove it to me.
Yeah. And for me, I don't like Trump. I'm not glad that he won in any fashion.
Yeah.
But we're stuck with it, so we need to make the best of it. And I know that's a pretty privileged position to take, but fuck, we have to just hope for the best at this point, and do your part here in our country to try and figure out and be educated politically and figure out what you need to do and what's right for the country and versus what's right for yourself.
Yes. Well
without
put.
being a communist about
And
it.
on that,
our toilet paper. Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Thank you for joining us, Internet. Have a good night.
Yeah. Stay angry.
Stay angry.
Over the top.